I just didn't want to see that the business was failing. And then we came to a point of like bankruptcy.
Today in the 3 podcast, we have Jens Glerum. Jens is a content creator, a creative, and the founder of CreatorMate. Did you already have some kind of like first traction when you started? Like some views? Did you grow your channel?
I think at that stage, in general, YouTube wasn't really a way to like get discovered. I think that whole algorithm didn't exist yet.
Like if you look back at like the 14-year-old Minecraft playing like Jens, would he recognize you today? What do you think does it take nowadays to become like a good creator?
It's funny because
for full transparency, we recorded this episode already in 2024, but in the old studio. Since then, a lot has changed because it's 1 year of founder story, which is like 7 years in normal life, I think. So we have a lot to discuss because CreatorMate is live and there's a lot that has changed. Jens, thank you so much for joining the 3 podcast and thank you for coming again 1 year after we recorded the first episode.
Thanks for having me again, bro.
It's a really pleasure. Hey, what I found super interesting, and there's also many articles about that in the Netherlands, you started with YouTube like super early. There were like articles that called you like the Dutch Wunderkind, which I find quite nice because it's also like a German word. And I think probably very flattering for you as well. How does someone start with YouTube like with 13, 14? Like where did the kind of excitement and the interest come from?
I think YouTube itself is just a very interesting platform. And I think at like the early days, I was really young. Like I'm now 23. So when YouTube came out in 2008, I was 6 or something. 6. And I think like at that point, nothing was really on it, but around 2010, 2012, it just catched up. You have the Enzo Knol vibe of like the whole, the Dutch culture where like there's this generation that grows up with these YouTubers and it just became more like accepted to watch YouTube. It was just a thing people do. Like you either played outside with friends or you were a loner like me and then you started watching YouTube. And then I saw that button like publish your own video and I just got, oh wow, I need to do this. Then I downloaded it, Obsidian, started making Minecraft videos and like the whole gist.
Do you still have the first video?
That's the fucked up part. I don't know. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course.
My mother, she's a teacher, and then at some point. She gave me her old laptop, and then this was like this super old Windows laptop, way too small. Like you're not allowed, or it was not it was not meant to be used for someone making videos. And then I started making these videos. I did them with my PS4. I had this webcam system. I remember doing the first time, and it's nice that you don't have to do it anymore, where you need to clap in front of the mic to get it all synced. And I just started making all of these videos by these Minecraft servers and all the bullshit. And then at some point, I just uploaded it. And then I looked back, like, I think 5 years ago, I tried to look from them again and I deleted them permanently.
No.
But then YouTube has this thing that you can send an email because they might somewhere have it in their cloud, but they didn't. And then I tried to open the laptop and it didn't work. So I wish I had, because I would love to see my old face. Just excited to like play Minecraft. I have a few actually, but this without webcam. It's just my audio. And it's super cringe to hear my
funny
children voice back.
And did you already have some kind of like first traction when you started? Like, did you like get like some views? Did you grow your channel, or was it more like kind of like experimental for you in this stage?
I think at that stage, in general, YouTube wasn't really a way to like get discovered. I think that whole algorithm didn't exist yet. I think it was just nice to meet people from places that were too far away that you could have like really known them. Like I've met so many people through YouTube, like early days, and it sounds exaggerated because it is, but like I've met maybe 6 to 7 people just through YouTube and Instagram alone. And I think that's, especially at that time, that was super exciting.
Yeah.
Like meet new people, no traction, zero traction.
Yeah, especially I think as creatives, because like I think what many people I think underestimate that also kind of like this creator journey is quite lonely, and that a lot of creators are actually like introverts. Like I think that was the biggest surprise I think for me, like when I started to be a little bit more in the creator circles and realizing like, oh, like the people are like super excited in front of the camera, but then they would just sit on set being like super quiet, like not talking to anyone, which is also quite interesting. So like YouTube and Instagram is a really, really cool way to like connect with people, and also like understand the struggle a little bit more of other creators as well, right?
Yeah, but it's also I was watching this podcast with Scooter Braun, and then he said something like, "Humans are not there to be like praised; they're there to serve." And I think this whole thing with YouTube or creators, especially, I don't see myself as a creator. I just work with many creatives. It's super hard for them because you're going to live in two worlds. You're going to live in this online world where everyone knows that specific part of you that's either super excited or like you're this girl or you're this girl or boy or whatever you are. You're crying in front of the camera, and that's what catches people, that you're being honest. But then at some point you also have your real life and what like really happens, and then like how long will that last? So I think creators have a really hard, or creatives, like it's really, really, really hard to to get to that point.
And in your journey then, like from kind of being like the loner a little bit, maybe working on like some Minecraft videos, you also started to go into design pretty early. I think like with 14, 15, you really started like being interested in design work. And what I found super interesting is that instead of like working in Albert Heijn or like in a supermarket, you started working for like local businesses and like designing some artwork for them. Like, how was this kind of like first maybe mini entrepreneurial experience for you then?
Artwork makes it sound really like it was
really
good.
fancy menus.
Yeah. No, like you had Pirate Bay at that time, and like you can download a cracked version of Illustrator, and then I just started learning through YouTube. And then at some point I just found all these like templates in Illustrator with like set down menus. It was already done. You just needed to fill in the right information. And I just loved the principle of it. Like I could look so cool if I make these nice things and I say I made them. And then I just went to I went to barbers. I went to like small niche like cheese markets and all these things, and I just started like asking, and didn't make any money, just all free, or like I could get a gift card to get cheese. Literally happened.
Super funny. I think that's so nice, like that kind of like you just took something that you saw online and kind of really made like your own small business out of it.
Yeah.
Also reflecting in the fact that with only 18 you already started working for Amsterdam, or 17 I think. You're quite young, and became their first e-commerce manager, right?
Not their first, but I think their youngest.
But the best, you know?
Yeah. I am not confirming or denying. No, like I think what was nice at Ford really gave me an opportunity. Thanks to them, because I was just a kid, had zero network in Amsterdam, almost like no background in e-com, and they just had this sort of internship / traineeship. And out of everyone that applied, they thought I was the right fit. And then I started at the same period that someone else just started their job as a marketing manager, started doing like marketing and e-commerce. And this person, his name is Sjoerd. I learned so much from that guy, like about style, but also like trying to get quick to a point where you start liking it compared to trying to make it for someone else. Like he learned me a lot about how you can develop your own style. And then, eventually I just sat down with my previous boss every single time my contract ended. And I said, I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to do more. At some point I said way too many times. And then, I became their e-com coordinator at the kids version of 4. Did that for, I think, 9, 10 or 11 months. And then I decided to do something for myself.
Super exciting. We will talk about this in a bit, of course. Before that, like, I mean, you work since such a long time also like in this creator space and this content space. And I think many listeners, they are, I think, very interested in this whole creator economy and the secrets of it, probably. What do you think does it take nowadays to become like a good creator?
It's funny because not that many people eventually make it sort of as a creator. And I don't think you can really make it as a creator, like switching being a creator compared to trying to be an influencer. I don't like the term influencer because either it's your goal or it's some sort of thing that happens when you just become really good at what you are. And I think that's the whole point. You got to be good at what you are or what you're like trying to do. It's either a skill, it's a way of communication. It needs to be something that sticks with others, and you can like learn that in having conversations with people, trying to figure out what you like doing, because that's the only way that you can try doing it for a very long time and you only get successful. I hope the only way you get successful is by doing it very, very long, putting in a lot of time.
What do you think is like the average like tenure that someone should look at if there's now like a 25-year-old, 20-year-old young kid sitting there thinking like, hey, I want to become a content creator and work together with cool brands and do cool stuff. Like how much time would you recommend them to spend or to create before they can earn serious money?
I think earning serious money and
being a creator
is completely different, and majority of the time those worlds don't collide. No, I think it's like if you find a joy in making videos, then you're just going to consume up all the time you have to start doing it.
Yeah.
And then eventually you just unconsciously make a portfolio, and then if you put it out to the world, things will come your way.
Yeah.
So I think like making a 10-year plan, also from experience, like having a startup, it's like you're going to make a plan, but it's not going to work that way. You just need to be so vulnerable and just like water, flow the way it happens.
Yeah.
Just change, pivot, see what works. And then, eventually you will get to a point, if you really like doing it, that, you will make some sort of money.
Yeah. What do you think is the role of kind of content for like startups and maybe even more specifically startup founders?
Yeah.
I have the feeling that the pressure to build personal brands is like becoming maybe even like a little bit too high, where you get like all those kind of like forced founder stories where it's not very authentic.
Yeah.
Like, what's your opinion on like, is it like a necessity? Like, do startups need to have like a strong founder brand, or is it enough to say like, hey, we have a good product and we create content around that and that's it?
The last part is super good that you added it. You need to have a good product. I see so many people where the business, it's about them and you're not scalable. And if you build a startup, or like you build when you say startup, I directly think of software. When you start doing something in software, you do it to get it scalable, to like build something that fixes a problem for a lot of people. And then like connecting that to a personal brand is super hard. And then in my opinion, because it's so new, we also don't know if it actually works. Like it works now because it's new, and then the bubble of people that like it are also like startup founders or people getting into business. So I think it's also this big pyramid scheme of just people teaching people how to start businesses, and the barrier just gets lower and lower and lower. And eventually, the person all the way at the bottom has so much to consume. And in their mind, they have so much reasons that they shouldn't start because they haven't this. Like, you're going to compare yourself to so much because there's too much content now on one topic. So I'm not a big fan of it. And I think if brands do it, then don't do it as a personal brand, but just make branded content. I think there's this whole conversation now going on about the lifespan of content. Like UGC, if you make it today, and today's Friday, like it's done on Monday. The lifespan of a UGC creative is really short in ads, but also in like just the organic piece. And then when you go into branded content and you start making content, one of the creators I really likes, BB Jane. I don't know if you've ever seen one of her videos.
I love her content.
It's amazing what she's making. And especially because I can, if I get a daughter, I would want my daughter to watch her. And that's going to take hopefully like 20 years or like 10, 20 years before that happens. But then that video that she's now making will still be relevant. And I think that's the goal, not being out there and trying to like vlog what you're doing these days, looking for a subject that really like sticks with you. She's really niche subjects that she like personally experienced, and bringing that angle into something that she actually cares about and putting the time and effort in it. That's a good piece of content, in my opinion. Yeah. Compared to just, and that's also like when the cameras were off, you had the conversation like, oh, we need to film everything and blah, blah, blah. I sort of agree, but also don't, because it's so much about the quality. And I feel that we're going towards a world where we feel that it's about quantity. Yeah. And it's not about quantity.
Yeah, because I think the problem is that it switches so many times. I remember like, first, for example, I mean, it's also, of course, always a little bit the platforms dictate a little bit in which direction it goes, because I remember when TikTok started, it was like kind of like this like raw content and more this kind of like short funny things.
Yeah.
Then we had all of a sudden like super high quality setups where like News Daddy and like all the people with the insane microphone and lights and all this kind of stuff. And then we moved back to like, oh, just people like riddling on their phone and just like this spontaneous video. And now it's like this really weird mix that people don't even know, like, okay, what is really working, you know?
And
like,
that's all because of the quantity, because things get saturated very quickly if there's a mass production of it. If everyone starts making a podcast now, the value of making a podcast would go down. I think it's already going a bit down, and it's really focusing on like the niche. And the same thing is for video content. I don't see TikTok as, or I don't see any of the platforms as like, if you're a creator, if you post on one of those platforms, you can make a mailing list and share freaking MPV or MP4 files in a WeTransfer link to people that watch those videos, and then you're also a creator. Like you're not limited to any of the platforms and what they want you to do. You should just make what you want to make, and then eventually we'll get to an audience. Like the best thing is to make something you really, really, really like. And if one person sees it, they share it to three other guys, girls, whatever. And then eventually you get to the point where you build an audience.
Yeah.
But we're so like learned, and that's also why I hate the way that these platforms present their metrics. There's no metric to measure how much impact you're making on the audience that watched it. There's watch time, but what the fuck does watch time say?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or impressions or like the...
But like what you would actually want to know is like, okay, out of the people that watched and the people that watched and commented, how many of, or like how deep is the understanding of the people that commented to what my initial goal was of this video? Do people actually understand what I'm trying to share? And if that can get some sort of score or you can get feedback, then people can become better creators. And now people just become better attention grabbers.
If you would have like if you then had, for example, like a B2C brand, like if you would start another company, like don't get stressed out, you don't have to do. What would you advise them then in terms of like content? Because of course there's maybe like this marketing manager listening right now and they think like, okay, Jens, what should I do then?
Yeah. I think I sit down with a lot of, like now that we pivoted a bit to more enterprise, we sit down with a lot of like big marketers that either got bought from a previous company and to now work at this big startup that just raised a lot of money and now they need good employees. And then every time we do an intro, and I'll explain a bit more like what it is that we do and why it works so well. I always ask a marketing manager, like, how many pieces of content have you made that actually made an impact, that actually like got some sort of traction? And when I say traction, I don't mean there's this 6-second video of your dog that got 6 million views. Like, I don't care. Like how much impact have you made on the internet? And none of the, and these are people from really big companies. Not saying they're bad at marketing. They're just not good at marketing for social media in the way that we are. And when I say we, I don't mean myself. I'm not a good marketer. We are good at curating people or curating like groups of people to fit brands really well. So to get back to the question, I would just try and find a creator that isn't that big yet, where you feel that, or that you just really like, and that's when they align with your brand, and you just need to find a way to get them on board. Because you need a really good storyteller. But it's business in general. It is about the product, but it's also like not. It's also about the story. It's much more about like everything behind the product, which makes it the product, which gives the product like more value, that you need to nail down for the product to get some sort of traction. And this is also like, it's true, but it's also false. We have really good examples of products that have zero branding, but it's the perfect solution. So there's also not one way. Just make the best product and then tell the story of the product in the best way.
I think this is really something that I'm actually eagerly awaiting already since 2 years. That brands really start to work together with their own creators, or that they basically curate their own creators. That they say like, there's someone who has, I don't know, 2,000 followers, but tells really cool stories, and we just signed him exclusively for our brand, and he creates content. And I think there are some brands that do that, but it's not like on a big scale, which I find very, very surprising. Because if you then look at the prices and like the budgets that they spend every year on influencers that do 3 stories here, 1 like collab post there, and all this kind of stuff, where it's like foop foop, like nothing will happen out of it.
But that's because that market is based on supply demand, influencer marketing. If 10 brands want to work with 1 person, the price of that person goes up.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just based on supply demand, not because any connection, because they can't measure it.
Yeah.
So it's their assumption.
And I mean, you touched on it briefly because you were already saying like we're good in creating teams, which I think closely aligns what you're doing right now with CreatorMate. Last year when we recorded, it was 2 weeks before the launch. I remember that you were quite not nervous, but you were stressed, I think, in a way. You made a switch basically for Amsterdam to found your own company, but you didn't do it alone, and you didn't do it like from zero, because you started to raise money. But maybe you can take us along in the, let's say, inception of CreatorMate, and then maybe we can tackle it from there.
So after 4, I just started freelancing. And that's where I sort of discovered the problem that we were trying to solve back then. And that's also like what I said briefly before, is that but a lot of influencer marketing and marketing in general on social media is a big gamble, because there's no way for people to get access to certain data. Really simple. If I pay you €1,000 to do a post for me, the only way I can retrieve the real data, the first party data, is by you giving your login details to me. You're never going to do that. You will never be at a position where you say, oh, this is where I chat with my fiance. This is where I send personal things. I'm going to send you my login so you can get access to your stupid data. It's not going to happen. So we wanted to make a platform that allows brands to get access to the first party data of creators at scale. There are brands like Gymshark, like many others, that work with 1,000 plus creators every single day. And we wanted to like find a way how they can get access to all those 1,000 creators. The data would be contextualized by just AI models that already exist. Image to text, sound to text, and then you, at a certain point, create context around videos about audiences. And then you can put them in categories. Like for Gymshark, they have a certain target audience that's really interested in a type of woman that has this type of fitness goal. And then they have 6 people who are all making videos about that same topic. But one of them might have like cracked the code. And then how can we leverage that to learn those other 5 the same thing? And that's eventually, that was the hypothesis of the business, is can we make that happen? And we raised some cash. I'll explain later like how. And we got to a point where we just spent so much money on amazing people. Like the initial team that we had were all amazing individuals. I would like, if you look up on LinkedIn, you can find them there. Like if you need anyone for any specific job, go to them because they're amazing. But at some point we just came to the realization that we weren't that sure how. We know what we wanted to build, like from like a high perspective, but no clue how to get there, and way too less funds to get there. And then we came to a point of like bankruptcy. Like, okay, are we going to declare bankrupt? Are we not? Like, what's the whole gist of it? And then I have the best business partner in the world. This guy, he's my best friend. And many times that's not the perfect, like, you shouldn't work with your best friend. But the way we started working together was, he was way further than I. And then he sort of discovered me. Or like, we both had a similar friend, which is Boney, the guy you see on the CreatorMate videos. And Boney introduced me to Marnix to start a fashion company. This was way before for Amsterdam even. I knew that it existed. And then I just, Boney booked us a meeting. So it was the first time me meeting Marnix, and I was super like stressed out behind my computer. And then the first thing he said in the meeting was, I already heard like that you want to build a fashion company. I'm never going to build a fashion company ever again. I already tried it. It's not worth trying it. But Boney was so excited for me to meet you. So that's why I'm here. And then I was like, okay, what do I do next? And then in my excitement, I just sold the guy to do something with me. And then he became a mentor. for so many years. I think for 3 years, everything I did at 4, not everything, but like a lot of things I did at 4, I just learned through him. And he just was there to help. Didn't need anything in return. Super kind, super dedicated, learned me a lot about myself. Like I come from a family where there's no one really is in business. And they're also really, it's not against business, but they're like really fair people. It's really fair. And business on itself is not that fair. It's hard to make it fair because you're just, you're in a different position than your employees. And like, it's hard to get that relationship cleared. It's a whole other conversation. And he just opened up a new world for me, but also allowed me to learn instead of me just hearing what he has to say and then saying, yes, I understand. So he tells me more, but also like really, and also I now have an advisor that's doing the same thing, and he will laugh if I say it. So instead of telling someone what to do, they try to teach someone how they can understand how to get to that next point. So really learn a thinking method. And Marnix was the guy who did that for me. Really, really learned me how to think in certain, like when problems face your way. And then we are complete opposites. We're like yin and yang. But because we started this like partnership in a way where I just sit down, shut the fuck up and learn, 6 years later, there's zero ego and we are super aligned on everything. Like we say the same thing, complete different ways, but we want to get to a point that's the truth and that's fair. And that's been magnifique. Yeah, that's been like anything I could ever wish for.
Awesome.
So I think just because of him, and also he did the whole fundraising. I love to take credit for it, but he took the whole thing. I just designed the deck and then he just took off. He knew how to get the meetings. He knew how to like teach me what to say. He knew what he needed to say and what was good for me to say. He knew how to like make me shut up. That's been such a big learning curve. It's been like the last year in itself has been, what you said, it felt like 7 years of straight learning.
Yeah. And what is kind of your position then in the company?
I'm CEO, and I like every day I ask myself the question, why am I the CEO? No, like we came to this point where we had a super interesting conversation where it was like, we first started like as co-CEOs because we didn't know any better. And also this whole like terms for being a CEO, it doesn't like, when you become really big, it starts to matter. But at this stage, everyone's just doing shit. That's it. You're just trying to blush the fires. I don't know what the saying is, but you're trying to fix things. Yeah. Everything breaks and you just need to fix it as soon as possible. And then at a certain point, we investors started like coming into the conversation and they want to like, what's your role? What's your role? And then because I have the most experience on like what the product is and I steer like where we're going, I know the problems very well because I'm super in touch with the people that face those problems and I can come up with solutions really quick. But everything that I do will never work if he's not the one trying to figure out how we can actually execute on it. And then we just split the structure like, okay, I will be CEO, you will be a chief operating officer. And that just works.
I mean, you raised money, you had like this nice idea. And when was the moment where you were like, okay, like something has to change, otherwise we will go like into bankruptcy?
So we raised an angel round of 200 something, 220, 200. And then we came at a point where the whole vision was we raised 200K, get an amazing team, start building the product, get some traction on marketing, grow our wait list, so like 10,000 people, and then raise 800K pre-money. So we hadn't made a single dollar, we haven't made any money, and we would raise another 800,000 euros. So we could actually build a product, get it to market. Because when I started, I thought 200,000 euros was a lot of money, and it is. But you almost can't do nothing with it if you're starting from zero. If you already have something that works, then 200K could mean the world because it could really like bring it to the next level. But if you're just like me and I can't write a single line of code. I can do some designs, but it's not as amazing as my previous designer. You're so dependent on people. And also with Marnix, same thing. Super good at operating, but if there's no people you can operate, Yeah, you can't do anything. So we came to a point where like so much money was going out of the business. And also it was pretty lean. Like I think we were doing 20 to 30K a month spent. And then, we came at this point where raising that next round became really hard. And we almost had zero money in the bank. And then just, everything switched. And it was the most terrible experience. I lost really good friends. I lost really good colleagues, employees. It was really hard also from that point on to like steer it back. Being in that same space. Like I literally slept on the floor with previous, I won't say employees, but previous colleagues of mine, previous people that also believed in this vision. And then, you have to have this really hard conversation where I can't pay you anymore, which for me as a first timer, I was 21, 22, is super hard on itself.
Yeah, of course.
To like have that reality clap and also have it yourself and then need to like directly face the things that come after.
The nice thing, of course, is that like it has a happy end to the story. You pivoted and CreatorMate is still alive today, 1 year later, after a lot of like difficult times. What is CreatorMate now?
We were super lucky. We're always super lucky that we met Max Kleinstra, which is one of the co-founders at Otrium, which is an insanely big company from the Netherlands. And he saw one of our videos. He reached out to me on LinkedIn saying, hey, let's do a meeting. And the funny / crazy part of the whole story is I didn't even see that whole message. The intern that we had then from Australia, Ben, he saw that message because he was logged in my LinkedIn, blah, blah. And he said, why didn't you contact this guy? And I didn't believe it. Thought it's something fake, or I don't know. And then Ben scheduled a meeting for him to come to the office, which was really late. I hadn't eaten that whole day because I was stressed out. We were still in the whole, we're going bankrupt. Literally during that meeting, when he came by, I asked him at the end, do you want to invest X amount of money? And then he said, I'm not going to invest. I'm going to do something better. I'm going to give you your first few customers, but it's not for something that you wanted to build. We're going to do something different. And then he just opened up this whole new world that we didn't know of, that existed, of brands wanting to make really good quality content, but there's no way to, or there's no place or way to hire these people. There's no way for them to hire a filmmaker. There's no place for them to hire. Like the other solution is going to a production house, production agency. Yeah. But then you're going to spend 20, 30K alone on them thinking about your brand. So there wasn't an affordable middle step of getting the highest amount of quality for a really lean way of working. It's just the new way of doing an agency. And then we directly thought with our ego, we need to make this a product. So you start looking for, okay, how can we turn this problem that brands are facing into something that's a bit more scalable? And then we started like looking into private marketplaces, vetted marketplaces, like a way where everyone can apply. We have a panel of insane, internationally recognized creators who approve or deny applications. And then we get this one-to-many access channel to all the best freelance filmmakers, editors, VFX artists, just insanely great freaking people. And then every time a brand comes to us, we have this enterprise layer where we match them based on their audience with a big creator. For example, Daiki, an amazing creator. He's from Japan, super sick guy, has a background also in Accenture. And then I just came from a meeting with a startup in Amsterdam that raised a lot of money from Sequoia Capital, and they want to start like doing social media, but not in like the traditional way. They want to do like documentary style. And the nice catch is, instead of them hiring a marketer who has never done it, I just place a creator who has done it as their creative lead. So they're the ones ideating all the concepts, like their sparring partner. They do all the pre-production, but they don't do the production because their time is super expensive. They either leverage their face or their audience. So they do all the pre-production, they come up with all the work, and then we have the people from the vetted marketplace that execute those ideas. So you get someone that has 500,000 followers to come up with ideas that are worth that audience, and you get it for like a sheer amount of the price because freelancers make it. And you can do it at scale.
Interesting.
So Daiki can come up with 500 concepts in like, let's say a month. He can't produce 500 videos in a month. How can we? by having like build a structure to do the pre-production amazing, like in the most detailed way ever. All props to Marnix for fixing that. And then just having the channel to access 500, 400, 200 filmmakers to produce all of those ideas on brand, production level, insane for brands.
So it's basically like almost like a creator economy as a service kind of.
Yeah. And literally we can produce, and that's also hard. Like we can produce anything or we can produce everything.
Yeah.
But we choose to like focus on 3 really big segments. One is documentary. We think that if your customer is interested enough to watch a 15-minute video of your company and people working at your company on YouTube, they will either become a customer or be a lifetime customer. And then the other one is just doing documentary series about customers. So who are your customers? Like, what are the things they are struggling with? How can we bring the reason why your product exists in a format that feels organic, feels real, feels authentic, where also the customer is proud to be a customer and to be represented by your company.
Yeah.
And then the other is just quality social content, really on brand at scale.
But it's really funny that basically like without your first idea, you would have never, because like with your first idea, you had to speak with a lot of creators. You created like a wait list of, I don't know, 10,000, 6, 7, 8,000 creatives and creators.
Yeah.
And now with your new like venture,
Yeah.
you basically have all the contacts and everything. So it's funny that like in the end, like
it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But like you could have never predicted this like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And now the value proposition, and we're still like, maybe we do something completely different in like 6 months. You never know. But now we're like trying to make the value proposition more towards how can we help any brand or any person, a DJ that is playing his first big gig somewhere in Spain that doesn't have the budget to fly someone with him out there, but who can like trust that we know that we have already vetted who are amazing in Spain. And he can just hire a filmmaker native in Spain to go to his set to film.
Yeah.
How can we give people with not that much budget the most worth of their money? And instead of it going to a middleman or some guy's as manager, bring all the budget on the screen. And then do that for like the lowest tier, like the everyday people, the bakery around the corner that needs a nice video or that needs something. But also to like the really big enterprises who just want to produce a lot of content without needing to hire 20 project managers and the whole buy 6 agencies over to like produce.
I find it interesting and like remarkable at the same time that basically your content, I think, was very good from the beginning. I think it was a big props to Bonnie, which was the filmmaker and creative lead behind that. And without that video that this Ultrim founder Max wouldn't have seen the video, he would have probably maybe not reached out to you.
100%. And then Max came and Max introduced us directly, I think it was a week after, to a company that now raised 50 million euros in total. And that was our first client. And it wasn't like this store, they didn't pay so much money. Like now it's the client that where we make the like the lowest amount of money. It's the smallest client now. But at that point, getting access to capital and actually solving a problem. And also I just did a LinkedIn post about them, so I'm good to say, but we made all the mistakes ever. All the mistakes that we could make, we made with the client, with like real cash on the line. But then because this, our spokesperson, the interim COO at that company was so kind. He was in really early at Notion, insane guy, came from San Francisco. He's Dutch, but just a killer. He, at the beginning, we set the stage like, we are here to learn. We are trying to build a software company. Please, like, don't try to sugarcoat us. Tell us when we need to fix shit, shut the fuck up, and like, do it. And then he kept on his promise, and he did, and we learned so much. And we're still making mistakes, but just, I think we are now in a stage where the relationship that we have with people and that they see that we actually care And our value proposition is super nice that we will get to a point where we can fix everything.
What do you think was your biggest learning in the past 12 months?
I think the one that makes most sense to me now, I think there's two. One I learned recently and one that just sums it up. Your ego is your biggest enemy. I just didn't want to see that the business was failing because I had this image of myself being so successful. I always wanted to be successful. And now I'm at a stage where I really don't care. Like, you start a company, not everyone, but I start a company because I had a not that nice experience working for a boss. I want to do things different. And then you get to this point where you're even making your situation worse than it was when you were working for a boss, either in time, in like everything that you're doing. And then I just sort of, just gave in instead of figuring out how can I make this something that I want to do for 10 years. And it's also something I learned from Max. Max literally sat there in front of me and he said, you haven't eaten, it's super late, you're stressed out. If you keep doing it this way, you're not going to be here in 10 years. Not be here like die, but like you're not going to do this in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I know 0 entrepreneurs that built a big company that didn't took them minimum 8 years. So you're going to fail if you keep doing it this way. And that just was the biggest wake-up call ever.
I think many people underestimate like how long it takes to build a company. Because of course we also live in this like world with social media where everything, especially in entrepreneurship, becomes so like glorified. The late nights, the not eating, not doing this, not doing that.
Yeah. It's sort of good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Like it's cool to get only 5 hours of sleep. It's like no, it's not. It's like very And I think that also the fast success. Everyone is like in X days to 10K, in X days to 6 figures. Because that clicks, and of course that works. But if you are like really remotely working with anyone building a serious business, you realize, like I think that's the number one thing I always learn
100%.
with like really experienced entrepreneurs, that they always say like, calm down a little bit, it's all gonna be fine. Like just relax a little bit, because they are so relaxed because they know that things will always go wrong. Also with companies. There will always be mistakes. Yeah. There will always be things that are out of your control. And I think when you want to become a founder, you just have to get very comfortable with being uncomfortable in a lot of situations, right? That it's most of the time like you have to fix things. And if you're not a person who wants to fix things, then I think it's going to be a very tough journey for you as a founder.
You just need to care. About what you're building. And if you don't care, you need a lot of discipline and the things that you're saying, but you just really need to care about the people you're trying to solve a problem for.
Yeah. Did you ever think about quitting?
100%. Yeah, I did. Marnix didn't. Yeah.
What kept you?
Him. Yeah. I just didn't want to let him down. And he just, I owe a lot to him.
Nice.
Honestly, yeah.
But it's also really beautiful, right? Like, I mean, it's more than a friendship and...
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you look back at, like, the 14-year-old Minecraft playing, like, Jens, would he recognize you today?
No. But also a year ago, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I think I still don't. You come to this... Nah, I don't think you come to this point, but I'm now at the point where you just want things to happen and you're putting, again, and that's just, I think it's part of the game. You're putting everything on the line. Again, your name, your network. And I mean network, not in a way like the connections you have on LinkedIn, but the great other founders, marketers, the current clients that know you from something, you're putting that on the line the way that they know you. You're either the guy that helped them or you're the guy that screwed them up. And again, you're putting it all on the line. And I think that's, you're in this territory where you are what the person in front of you wants you to be. Because you need to be his water. You're mirroring more than trying to like find out, okay, what do I want to do? And it's me talking. For Marnix, that's completely different. He is super stable, and I think that's also why it works super well together. But for me, it's just, you're constantly selling, constantly.
Is it difficult for you then to switch off, like from your company, or?
I just haven't found a way to switch it off for like 2 years, 3 years.
And are you working on it? Or do you just say like, well, it is what it is right now?
Like, how do you work on it? I think at some point it just comes.
I think there's things you can do, like being maybe more offline, being more present.
Yeah, but or at least I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if I'm with other people, I think about the company. I think about what I want to do. I think about things that we could still do, because every time I'm in a conversation, I just give myself more perceptions to think about my business. And that's super, I think it's a bit egotistical and it's a bit narcissistic, because I also feel that this is what I need to do, etc. And like, even I have really great friends, and I also, because that's also cool to sacrifice your friends to like do this business. That's the worst mistake I ever made. To like quit my high school friends, really quit on them. I really quit on them. And now I'm super thankful, because they truly don't care about what I do with business, that they accepted me as sort of like back in. Not everyone, but a few did, and I'm really grateful for that. But even though when I'm with them and I'm talking about completely different things, my mind just goes back to, okay, not this is what we need to do next, but it's just all up in the whole CreatorMate puzzle. Because there's so much to fix. And also, no, I chat with a lot of founders. That's also the funny thing, are the people from the companies that we work with, the spokesperson for us are founders. It's never the marketing manager or someone else. We have direct contact with all the founders of really big companies. But these are also guys that it's like 11 or 12 at night, and they still call me. Like I was on the bike, and I got called by also one of our clients, and he said, I have this idea and we need to make it, because you're just so excited about what you're doing and you can only think of it. It's like it just comes with the job.
Yeah, I think there's a big part. I mean, if you are like not passionate about your product and like what you're doing as a founder, better don't start, because I think that it's just not worth it. But I do think like you also have to like look after yourself, that like you don't lose yourself, because like I don't think that it will happen, but it can happen that maybe it does still go bankrupt because of some unknown reason. Yeah. And if it's gone, like there's not only the company gone, but like part of you is gone. And I think that should not happen in a way. So I think you have to, I don't know, meditation or maybe like some crazy sports or something. I
completely agree.
Where you can really switch off and really not think about like, or if you cannot, I go to CrossFit, and I tell you, like you cannot think. You just hope that you take the next breath and that your heart doesn't stop because it's so exhausting.
And
so,
you go to your gym.
so maybe you have to do something like high intensity where you really can like switch off, because I think it will also help you get more clarity, because when you're always like inside, sometimes you can also not see anymore. Like
maybe that's also, you just have a great discipline. And Marnix is the same. Marnix runs ultra marathons. Like at some point when Boney was also still like very close working with us, Marnix said, I want to do a triathlon next week, 0 training. And he just said, okay, I'm going to take my bike. I'm going to bike from here to like Hoek van Holland to Haarlem. Then I'm going to run from Haarlem to Amsterdam. And then, Boney's just going to film it with another like filmmaker. And then, he just did it. For him, it's I truly admire it. And I think it has a lot to do with discipline. I think I don't have that level of discipline, or at least not now. And I think that's also just being okay with that you're young. And there's one thing I want to say, that I have an advisor, one of the most crazy people that I've ever met in my whole life. Not saying I've met so many crazy people, that this guy is just insane what he knows. And we had a meeting, and we had a similar conversation. And then he said, maybe you're just not ready yet. Maybe you just need to make that mistake, go bankrupt, lay out for 2 years, and then get back on your feet and then do it. Maybe you're just not ready. And then some sort of like pressure fell off my shoulder. And since then I've been more calm where I don't feel that I experience that much stress compared to a year ago.
Yeah.
When I sat here, I also feel like I'm more present.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I can actually be here.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it's different.
I think that you can also actually explain like what you want to do and like voice it more, also like to solve like a real problem, because I think because last year you were also like in a kind of like an MVP stage, right? Like I think this is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And now you ask the market, and the market said, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's also nice, because I think like every failure brings you then also like closer to like that. Oh, okay, so that doesn't work. Maybe we have to find something else. We have to pivot, you know. So it's I think it's anyways a remarkable journey. I mean, you're a super young guy. You're 23 years old. I have a lot of respect for you to also keep on like pushing and not saying like, you know what. I mean, for you, it would be very easy to work somewhere in a company and earn a good salary with a nice car and have like a very relaxed life. But you choose the founder life, and I have really a lot of respect for you. So I think, I could learn a lot today from you. And before we leave off, of course, we have 3 final questions that I ask to every guest. I don't know if you remember that from the last time, but the first question is, what are you currently learning right now that you're not good at?
I think the thing that we just talked about a lot is like trying to turn off the switch.
Trying to turn off the switch. What name would you give this chapter of your life?
I don't know if I said this the last time, but just fuck around.
Fuck around? I think you didn't say that.
Yeah, just fuck around, find out. Just do more, do, test. Don't bring too much like, oh, this is the thing I'm good at. This is me. This is what CreatorMate is. Just find it out along the way. Yeah. Take steps.
Nice. And last but not least, if you could send a SMS to all mobile phones in the world, what would you say?
Super corny, but sort of say hello to a stranger. I think yesterday night I took the train really late home, and then there was this guy, and I was playing music, and I sort of stared way too long to him, not sort of because of anything. And then he said, "Yo, can I help you with something?" And I said, "Oh, sorry." And then in the train we had this whole conversation about what he's doing, and I thought like, "What? This was so nice to just meet someone I never knew." So I think, it's just nice to talk to new people.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I found this Dutch guy actually on Instagram a couple of days ago, and he walks through Amsterdam and he's just chatting up people. Like I think he has like meta classes because like I cannot see a camera because I think otherwise it would be weird. So he's just giving like compliments to people, and they're like, "Hey, like nice this, nice that," and it's actually so crazy. If you look in the eyes of the people, then you see immediately like this kind of like, what does he want? And then he's just chatting, and then they start to smile, and it's so sad, but like also nice in the same time that like we do have this layer in humanity, but the first layer is always like, hey, like what does he want from me? Yeah. And then the second layer is like, oh, actually it's super nice, because in the end I think like most of the people want harmony and like peace and all this kind of stuff. But then it's like those few like that go crazy and do crazy shit. 100%. But like it's so nice to see. So that's why I find it a really, really cool message.
There's this Dutch YouTuber called Ruben Spitz. He did this series where he tried to go to all 7 continents without spending any money. I went to the last live, like the premiere of the last video in Amsterdam. I met him, amazing guy. And I think everyone should go watch that, because it's so cool what happens when you just... And he's actually trying to sell something to people. He's trying to sell stroopwafels to get money to fund his travel. But just the connections that he is building by inspiring others also like dream a bit. Yeah. But like real, with something achievable, not this big company that he's trying to do and the money that he's trying to raise, but just, hey, I'm now in Amsterdam and I'm trying to get to Tilburg. I need 20 euros. I'm selling stroop. Can you please like buy... It's so accessible. Yeah, and I think that was refreshing to see.
Super nice.
Yeah, you should check it out. I'll send it to you.
Put it into the description.
Yeah.
Jens, 1 year later, still an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for coming again to the 3-1 podcast. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm pretty sure that everyone else also enjoyed it a lot. I wish you all the success that in the world to make it work, to have like CreatorMate 2.0 work. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on again.
See you next year.
See you next year, exactly. And for you, it's now the time to like and subscribe, because still there's 80% of the people that watch right now, if you made it to the end, that haven't subscribed yet. So go subscribe to 301 Podcast, and we can bring even more amazing guests, even though that's pretty hard to top. But yeah, go like and subscribe, and see you next time in the 301 Podcast.